Okay, just before we do start this video, this is not going to be like my normal videos. I'm going to be talking about some kind of real life topics. So if you don't care about anything to do with me or my life, and you just purely want to just relax, have some gameplay, watch a video on water tanks, by all means, don't watch this video. Wait until tomorrow. There'll be a video out for you. For everyone else, this does go into quite a bit of detail about my life and growing up. And yeah, this is more like a podcast than a video. So hopefully you enjoy. To leave it on in the background, do something else. You'll mainly be listening. You don't need to watch this with video, and enjoy. Okay, let's have a chat, shall we? Now, obviously, I'm not going to be going through like the ultra basics. Like, you know, if you want to know all the FAQ and stuff, just go onto the website. It will be there. What I want to talk about is more about me and for you to understand my life a little bit more, because it's very, very easy to look into someone else's life and just think, oh, it looks fine, right? As many of you know, I suffer from anxiety, like quite bad, like social anxiety mainly. Now, I don't talk about this because honestly, I don't want sympathy. I don't want to play this like the sympathy card and then be like, oh, look, pity me. Like, I don't care. I want to be treated the same as anyone else would be. That being said, it's also important to speak about it. I did speak about this maybe a year or so ago, but I feel like we've obviously come quite far in a year and there is always new people. So we might as well give an update, and hopefully we can then just link it back to this video and we'll talk about everything through there. So anxiety has always been a very, very big part of my life. And unlike others that have always tried to find ways of getting rid of it, which I don't even think you can get rid of it. You can learn to deal with it, which is what I've been trying to do over the past however many years it's been. And it's to the point where I don't feel as bad online now. Like, I can happily go and talk to someone new online with relative ease. Still a bit of anxiety there. No one likes to meet someone new for the first time, even if it is just online. But I could go and do that now. Whereas before, I wouldn't even, consider going and talking to someone in text, for example, online. So now it's a lot better. Obviously, as I've got older and as I've gone through being online, I've honestly been online more in my life than I actually have been offline. I feel like nowadays a lot of people are more online than they are offline, if that makes sense. But anxiety has always been a big part of my life. And as I said, I tried to kind of work with it and work ways that I can develop techniques to deal with it rather than try to fight it, because I don't think, as I said, you can. Either way, it's been a very big part of my life, all the way going through secondary school. From secondary school, I would basically go to school at 8 o'clock. It would be 8:45 to 9 o'clock that lessons would start, and then you would go all the way through until 3:30 of when you would finish school. And during that time, I would feel just sick. Sick is the only way that I can describe how I feel when I have like my anxiety attacks and panic attacks and stuff like that. I feel very, very sick to the point where I feel like I'm going to throw up. It's quite annoying that is the way, because that then means that I just can't eat, because when you feel sick, the last thing you want to do is eat food. So throughout the entirety of secondary school, I would just eat little snacky things, like, some, it might be like some bit of fruit or something like that, or just, even biscuits or whatnot, like just simply snacky types of things until you reach the end of the day, and I'll go home and then, eat everything. Like, I would take a lunchbox with me. My mum would make me lunch, but I just couldn't eat it. So it wouldn't be until I get home from school that I would eat. So from like 8 o'clock and I would never have breakfast, because again, that's a no-no. I'm eating before going outside and doing stuff. Yeah, it doesn't work. So I would basically go without food until about 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock. Like I'm not even worried about that, because your body will always develop ways of dealing with it and learning to be okay with a situation. Like, it's very, very easy to adapt and overcome a situation. Like, your body will just do it naturally. And to the point where some of you may think, oh no, that's so unhealthy, that's so bad. It didn't really affect me. I still done okay in school. Like, the anxiety didn't really stop me from doing anything that I didn't want to do academically. And I don't feel like the food or like lack of substance or something like that even affected that, because as I said, my body was just used to not eating until about 3:30 or 4 o'clock, and then, you know, maybe having something in between. And that was just it. That was just how I went through school. So every single day, that was my life for secondary school, basically. Now, obviously, when a new school year starts, that is when it becomes quite bad for me, because I'd be going into every single new school year having a big bit of time off, because during summer holidays, it's the longest time off that you get from school. I can't remember how long you get. It's like 4 weeks off. And bearing in mind, I'll just be gaming with my mates every single night for 4 weeks. Like, I wouldn't go outside. I wouldn't do anything. I mean, I don't regret that. Like, I'll do exactly the same even now. They were some of the best time of my life. When I'd come back, because there's no... it's not normal anymore to me. You know, it's been 4 weeks or so. I'll come back to school, and the first day was always awful. I would be either in like the sick bay area or in the toilet and just, you know, trying not to throw up. It was always so bad. Yeah, so that was basically every single new school year, and that would maybe last for maybe like 2 to 3 days. It wouldn't be quite a week, because even though that it was a long time difference, you would slowly get used to coming back to school and, you know, everything being normal again. And I suppose also because of it being a new school year as well, you might have new teachers and stuff like that. It also then adds the anxiety of having to learn the teacher again, or, you know, it might be a new classroom or new classmates or whatever. So I guess it doesn't really help in that respect. But that was basically my time at school. And after school is where things got really weird. Like, so I've never been one for school. I don't like kind of the structure of school and how they force you to learn certain things, and it's not always what you want to learn yourself. That being said, it is important to learn those things, but in my opinion, just not as hard as they drill it into you. Like, I have never used Pythagoras' theorem outside of school once since I left. Just saying. I've also never measured the circumference of a grape. Like, it's not something that you do in day-to-day life. And with GCSE maths and stuff like that, it's just, I don't know, like, that's all that I remember from maths. Just thinking, like, why am I learning this? Leaving school, I left with my GCSE English with a grade C. I left with like this ECDL. Wait, I had to basically learn or do a test on the Microsoft Office programs, which was just the easiest thing I've ever done in my life, and I got a distinction star on that. Like, it was the equivalent of a GCSE, but just for like learning or mastering PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Access, all of these different things. I have no idea why this was a thing or how this is a thing, but there you go. That's something that I have, because obviously I didn't do as well in school as others, not because of anxiety, just because I don't agree with school or didn't really like school. I was in like the group of people that were on the verge of not getting the 5 A to C's, especially as I dropped art in year 11. Yes, I dropped GCSE art on the last year. I mean, I was never insanely good at art, but me and the teacher really didn't get along. Like, we really didn't get along towards the end. Unlike, I have nothing against them now. So I ended up dropping that in year 11, which is just like not heard of, right? Even like the deputy headmaster, I had a conversation with me and he was like, you can't drop it now. I was like, I want to. And he went, no, Max, you cannot drop it. I'm like, So I dropped it. And much to the annoyance of a lot of people, but I was not, going to go through the rest of those exams with that teacher. And to be honest, it actually helped me out quite a bit because it allowed me to go and get a GCSE that I knew I would pass, which is that EC. Well, I say GCSE. It's not really a GCSE. It's just the equivalent. Either way, by the end of year 11, after all my exams and results and stuff, which was very weird, right? You would think with someone with anxiety, going into like exams and stuff would be like so bad. I was the complete opposite because I genuinely didn't care. Like I don't, as much as I have anxiety, me as a person, I don't care about a lot of things. Like it's very hard to get me to worry about something. Like it would have to be something like extremely important for me to actually worry about it. But I went into my all my exams, and just I didn't really care. I didn't speak to anyone. Like I just walked into the exam hall and was like, "Yep, I'm here. Whatever. Take me to my exam." They last a stupid amount of time, and I went home because that's what you do in year 11. You basically come in only to do your exams, and then you go home afterwards. Or at least that's what it was when I was doing my exams. So obviously, after dropping art, we done the ECDL thing. Fine. So that was basically the backup to my art. So at the end of it, I ended up with GCSE English, grade C, which is fine. That was in language, not literature. Literature. I genuinely wrote about 4 sentences and then went, "Now I'm done." Yeah, literature. Here is how my mind was working. I looked up, do I need literature? And they said no, so I just didn't bother. I'm sure some employers do, and please do not do what I done. This is 100% not advice for your academic studies, and you should definitely do as good as you can on all exams. Grade C on English, ECDL, that's 2. Science, which was, again, a very, very fun time, because up till year 10, my year was the first year in the school that done GCSEs from year 9 to year 11. It used to be that you'd do it from year 10 and year 11, and that was it. So my year was the first year that you'd done 3 years for GCSEs, which allowed you to actually get more learning in for the GCSEs and stuff like that, which is actually good. In science, up till year 10, I was in the higher set. And when year 10 came around, I dropped down a set and I knew everything. As you are when you're in school, messing around with your mates, you also mess around with the teacher. So I kind of just done joke essays every single time. Well, not essays, because you didn't really write essays in science, but I done joke tests, basically. There was like questions in the exam where it was like, oh, what happens if greenhouse gases exit the into the atmosphere? I just went, the world would turn green or something. Like I just write the most completely useless answers imaginable, and I was predicted an F for science. And obviously, by the time the exam came, I knew everything in the exam. And I mean, I guess I don't want to say that, you know, I didn't revise at all, but like I hardly revised anything for any of my exams, like at all. Um, like maybe tiny amounts. And that was honestly when I was just bored. Like I would just revise some tiny amounts. By the time the exam came round, I knew everything in that test because it's very hard for information to actually leave my mind. I'm kind of fortunate in that respect. I do have a good memory, and it's still like I could see, even if I think that I've forgotten something, if I saw it written down on a piece of paper, I would then slowly remember it. By the time like exam questions came, I would know everything about that question and just got a straight C in the science exam. So I basically didn't do anything in science for 2 years. And I was predicted a straight F because that is basically what I got graded. And everyone in the science department was genuinely worried about me. And then at the end of it, you know, I come out with a C. My science teacher, I'd love to see his reaction when he saw my paper and he realized that I got a C. He'd be like, what? You know, anyway, speeding things up. Otherwise, we will be genuinely like this will be like an hour-long video, and that's not really what I wanted it to be. Although this is more like a podcast than an actual video, I guess. You know, I'm just kind of talking. Yeah, so science was done, so we got C. We're up to 3 GCSEs now. Maths, I got a grade D, and I was 3 or 5 points or marks off a grade C, which annoyed me so much. Like I was genuinely annoyed when I realized that I would have to redo maths next year because I was going to college. So because I didn't really have the grades to stay in school and do sixth form, although I probably could have if I asked, but you know, whatever. I would have ended up having to do another subject which I didn't want to do if I stayed at sixth form, whereas I went to college and done IT, which was like a generalized IT course. I first done level 2 and then done level 3. I'm not going to talk about college because I could be here for a completely different video all on its own. Genuinely, that was the most disorganized thing I've ever been to in my life. But I got distinction merit out of it, so I don't really care. And that was on the level 3 course. College went fine. Going back to GCSEs, I got a grade B in IT. I was 1 mark off an A. And that is the only reason why I was predicted an A star or something. And the only reason why I didn't get an A star or an A or anything like that was purely because they lost all our coursework and had to redo it within like 1 month of us actually submitting it all again. I don't know. Like it was very annoying actually. That and the maths were the only grades that really annoyed me, like a lot. So that's 4 GCSEs. I can't remember if I got another one. I honestly don't care. Either way, moved on to college and I done maths, failed it again, and then done it again the next year and passed it. Don't worry, 3rd time's the charm, okay? So if you too keep failing maths, don't worry, just persevere. Eventually you'll get there. Even if it does take you 3 times, 5 times, doesn't matter. Eventually you'll get your head around it. That was basically school for me. Now after school and college, I then went to university. Everyone was kind of going to uni. There was only a handful of people that weren't going to uni. And I was like, you know what? Fine. You know, I'll go. I went to uni. It wasn't what I kind of expected it to be. I knew there was going to be a lot less support and you were more of your own, you know, your own person. Whereas school obviously like holds your hand quite a bit with learning and different aspects of it. Whereas uni is very much you have to go off and learn about it. There's lectures there about the subject, and you can ask the teachers or the lecturers certain aspects of it, but you are kind of your own person, and they try and build you up in that way, which makes sense. And I have nothing against the way that uni works. I just think that it's not for everyone. For university, it's going to be great for some people, like completely. It's going to be the best thing that you could possibly do. But for others, it's not. And for me, it wasn't. So I done a year at university, realized this really wasn't going anywhere. And there was also like a hell of a lot of maths involved. And considering that I only just scraped past maths, I was struggling like a lot. I went to do, again, it was, I don't even know what it was. I think it was, so part of it was computer science and part of it was like general computing and stuff like that. A lot of it was to do with maths, which was a problem. If it had just been like purely computing and coding, because I could learn how to code, no problem. I mean, you give me enough time, I will learn how to code. But you could give me all the time in the world, and because I don't want to learn maths, I'm not going to learn it. Like, that's the problem with school and stuff like that. If a person doesn't want to learn it, it's going to be so much harder for someone to actually learn it. No matter how hard you try in your mind to say, don't worry, Max, you can do it, just learn it. It doesn't work like that. The human brain doesn't work like that. You cannot make someone like something that they do not like. So that was my experience from uni. Left uni. And since I left uni, I have not gone and got a job, partly because the pandemic happened directly after university. I left university. And yeah, I honestly haven't felt capable to go and look for jobs or work or do anything. And it's where I then found YouTube. And this is where we are now. I mean, it's a good few years since I left uni. I've been doing... I basically started YouTube after I left uni and started actually uploading regular videos and stuff like that. So for those 3 years or so, it must have been around about 2019, 2020 that I left uni. Those 3 years, obviously pandemic happened. I've been trying to get YouTube rolling, and it is slowly rolling now. Like, I'm actually seeing, growth with the channel, and we are reaching a decent amount of subs and stuff like that, and we're getting decent views on the video. I say we. I am. I don't have anyone else working for me. I don't have anyone else that helps me out with these videos. I say we because you are basically part of this. Without you, I don't really have a leg to stand on. So that is where we are. No, I don't have a job. YouTube and Twitch and Patreon and stuff like that are my only sources of money, besides external stuff, which are genuinely like none of your business, putting it out there nicely. No, I don't come from like a ultra rich family or anything like that. Yes, I know I have a 4090 and I have, all of this like setup and whatnot. Most of that is on finance, just so that you're well aware and completely transparent. Basically YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that pay off for everything. I basically put back in almost as much as I earn. And I earn not a lot off YouTube and Twitch and stuff. It's way below minimum wage. I'm not... So, I'm definitely not in this just for the money because I would have quit by now. After... I think I went the first year, I went without even getting paid on YouTube, obviously. And then the next year, I got paid £50 on YouTube every like 3 months. Like 3 to 4 months. So, yeah. I'm not in it for the money. But I'm not going to lie. Money does make everything work. So, it's unfortunate, but there you go. Anyway, that is basically me. You're now all up to speed. Like that has been my life, dealing with anxiety, going through school, going through college, going to uni, and now where we are now. So, nope, I don't have a job. This is basically my job. I struggle with my sleep immensely because at the moment I don't know why, but I can't really get a good night's sleep unless I sleep for like a solid 13 to 14 hours because I keep waking up in the middle of the night. So I need to actually sort that out, which is why half the time, like now, I'm recording this at 3:15 in the afternoon, having only been up for about 3 hours. Yep. And I went to bed at about midnight. Yeah. I don't know. Like if I could sort out my sleep so that I could get, like the solid 8 hours and I didn't wake up at all during the night, I would be able to do so many more things that I want to do. But yeah. Just briefly, before we do end this, if you did get this far, make sure you write a comment. Don't care what it is, you know. I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that. I just wanted to let you know everything about this. And if you do want to help me out, subscribe. You don't have to become a Patreon member or anything like that. Honestly, watching the video does more than you would ever know. And if you really want to be like helping me out as much as is possible for free, watch the video, leave a like, and comment something. It doesn't matter what you comment. It could be, I enjoyed, I don't agree with you, I didn't like this bit, anything at all. If you do those things, it helps me out for free. But that is basically going to be it. I do have a new schedule and stuff, which I am going to talk about in a different video. I might upload that on Saturday this week, talking through it, because I am going to get new internet on the 13th of February, which will mean that I get one gig basically up and down. At the moment, I have 1 gig download and 50 megabytes upload. So it takes me, yes, about an hour to upload every single video. Which, yes, that's quite annoying. So daily uploads are going to be back from the 13th of Feb. But I'll talk about that in a different video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you are keeping yourself safe and looking after yourself. And yeah, look after yourself, especially your mental health, because it's important. See you later.